Wait, wait. Let me see if my volume works. Okay, so first, just wait. Okay, it's all good. Anyways, welcome to the 36th episode of the Unnamed Podcast. Today, our guest is Suling Chan. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. So first off, I just want to say congratulations on landing that Funimation role.
Thank you very much. It's still pretty surreal. I'm still wrapping my head around it.
Yes, it is crazy. And once again, congratulations. If I may ask, before
Yes.
we get into like the details about like how you got the role in Funimation and such, let's actually learn more about your background. So, first off, how did you actually gain an interest in voice acting per se?
Great question. I think for me, a lot of it comes from being a fan first and foremost, formally.
Mhm.
So I grew up in Malaysia, and grew up watching stuff on TV like Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs.
Mhm.
I am so revealing my age by saying
Don't
that,
worry.
but I love Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. I grew up with Thundercats, GI Joe,
Hmm.
um, Chibi Maruko, Doraemon. There was another one, I think, Pretty Cure. I can't
Oh,
remember. It was in
Precure!
Malay.
Yes, I know about
Is
that.
it Pretty Cure? It's maybe not. It might have been might have been too new. But it was a girl, Pinky Momo. That's it. It's such an old anime. It's called Pinky Momo,
Oh,
and I remember Magical Princess Minky Momo. That's it.
oh,
It's called
Minky Mo.
Minky
Wait, it
Momo.
aired in Malaysia?
Yeah, it aired. The English dub aired in Malaysia. So funnily enough, we used to get like Malay dubs, English dubs, like the American English dubs,
Really?
as well as the original Japanese with subtitles. So
Hmm.
growing up in Malaysia is like wild because the TV is like so diverse.
I
You
bet.
can watch it in three languages: Japanese, English, and Malay.
Wait,
So
there's
take
also
your
Malay
pick.
dub?
So yeah, I mean, of like Doraemon and Chibi Maruko and all that was in Malay. Pinky Momo, Minky Momo, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
is was in English because it was called Gigi in the States, Magical Princess, girl Gigi.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cutie Honey was airing on TV. I can't remember. So there was a lot of anime on TV as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. There was Robotech. These were in English.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up watching a lot of anime on TV, and I had a really keen interest in it. I don't really speak Japanese fluently, so
Mm-hmm.
I naturally gravitated towards the Malay dubs and the English dubs, and I was like, ooh, one day it would be really fun to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I joined a voice acting community on the internet like
Mm-hmm.
in 1998. I know it's so hella old. Um, so and then I saw like a audition posting for this production where they wanted to dub Final Fantasy VIII or
Really?
scenes from Final Fantasy VIII. Yeah. And this was back then with those desktop mics, and everything was just like using the Windows sound recorder. And I was like, oh, okay. At that time, I was living halfway, like in between Malaysia and the States.
Mm-hmm.
So I went online a lot to remain connected with my friends in the States
Mm-hmm.
as well as in Malaysia. So I saw this audition and I joined it, and it was like the first thing that I ever did. I think the video, yes, no, I know the video is still on YouTube somewhere. Um, of what we did from that
Really?
production. And yeah, and there were a whole bunch of other stuff that I did, like fan dubs and stuff, but I don't think those exist anymore because it was such a long time ago. I think the only thing that survived was that particular production, the Final Fantasy VIII dubs, where we did these like answering machine thingamajigs. It was
Mhm.
funny. Apparently, I've been told it's become a meme, so I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. Um, and then that's how I just kind of got started in my interest in voice acting. It's really through being a fan. Was a fan first.
That's honestly really crazy though. Like when you said
Mm.
Minky Momo and like all the others, I actually for some reason I actually do know about those animes.
I know. I was like, wow, you do know about these animes, even though they're pretty old.
I think Minky
So I was like,
Momo itself is like famous, but then it has like
yeah.
notoriety like in the other way. Uh, I
Oh
think I have
my.
Doraemon. I think I also grew up with, to be honest.
Yeah, Doraemon is awesome. Like in
Yes,
Malaysia, Doraemon is dubbed in Malay, and that's awesome. And like the Doraemon voice in Malay is hilarious.
really.
It's famous. It's famous. Like every Malaysian whoever grew up watching Doraemon in Malay just knows that voice. It sounds so different to the Japanese, but kind of similar. It kind of sounds. Let me see if I can do it. Like everybody knows. It sounds something like this. Nobita, awak ni buat apa ya? Yeah, it totally sounds like that. I don't know why, but it does.
That is
So like
crazy.
yeah. So we have like a whole generation of Malaysians like born like in the 80s or 90s who know that Doraemon voice and it sounds pretty much kind of like that. A little scratchy, a little bit like really high pitched, and she's always like scolding Nobita.
That's actually interesting to hear. I might have probably heard Doraemon in the Malay dub, but I don't really remember because the last time I watched Doraemon, I think I was like really young at that time. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure because Doraemon's old. Doraemon's really old. But yeah. Um so yeah, I was pretty much a fan first.
Mhm.
Uh that started my interest.
If I may ask, what's your favorite anime in that case?
Ooh, okay. I'm so old school. My favorite anime is Cowboy Bebop, and I don't think I've ever had an anime that I liked better than Cowboy Bebop. And I
Mhm.
don't know if it's because it's nostalgia, because I watched Cowboy Bebop like so long ago.
Mhm.
The new Netflix adaptation is really cool.
Really?
So I can't wait to watch it. So I'm going to watch the new Netflix live action adaptation, and then I'm
Mhm.
gonna rewatch the anime and see whether it holds water and whether or not I like it. I still like it as much as I did.
Definitely.
Um,
Not gonna lie, the Cowboy Bebop opening is really catchy though. I have to admit.
yeah, the music in Cowboy Bebop is really good. I like the characters. I thought it was really good. It was the first English dub that I've ever watched. Anime English. Well, okay, it's not the first because technically Minky Momo was dubbed in English and they aired that in Malaysia. Gigi.
Mhm.
So no, actually that's not the first English dub. So never mind, scratch that. But it was the English dub that I really liked. I thought that the English dub for Cowboy Bebop was so good. And in fact, sometimes, for at least personally for me, I think it's even better than in English than in Japanese. There are some things that are because I guess everything's very Western
Mhm.
and the characters are it's like cowboys and stuff like that. So I always thought that Faye Valentine sounded a lot better in English than in Japanese. Oh my god, I'm
Mhm.
gonna get canceled so bad. I'm sorry. I mean I love I believe it was is it Megumi Hayashibara that does
Let me actually look
Faye
at the
Valentine?
seiyus for that.
Japanese voice. I know in English it's Wendy Lee. Yes, it is Megumi Hayashibara. She's like the person because she did like Lina from Slayers and a whole bunch of like I think she's Megumi is also what Evangelion? Isn't she? She's Rei from Evangelion.
Really?
She's also I think in Sailor Moon. I think so. It's been a while. Yeah, so she's like everywhere.
Yes.
But I always felt like Wendy Lee just captured that whole like very rough personality of
Mhm.
Faye Valentine. I mean, and also it kind of makes sense because you know that Faye Valentine is Singaporean, right?
Really?
Yes.
That.
So Faye Valentine was revealed in a backflash, like when she goes looking for her past,
Mhm.
she finds a video of her, and she's at the perspective of that video is like her taking like her day-to-day life. She's in a school uniform that looks suspiciously like the Singaporean school uniform
Mhm.
with a bunch of other kids that look like they could be Malay, Indian, and Chinese. So it's
Mhm.
diverse. And the biggest clue is that there's the Merlion, and there's also the Causeway Bridge. Like when I remember seeing it, I was like, oh my god, that's the Causeway Bridge. What's it doing in anime?
I mean, it's
Yeah,
crazy. Like when you see like Malaysia or Singapore in general in anime. To be honest, like
that
it.
is true.
Yes. Like.
That is very true.
Mhm. Like.
I think there's only a couple, a few. Sorry, yeah,
Oh, sorry,
you were
sorry,
saying.
sorry. A couple or few.
Oh no, there's like a couple of Great Pretender takes place in Singapore. Some episodes take place in Singapore. I watched the dub. Not gonna lie, I was slightly disappointed that there was no Singlish in the background.
That would be ideal though.
or anybody with a Singlish accent. That would be so funny. But no, nobody had a Singlish accent or a Singlish or even Manglish
Mhm.
accent when they went to Singapore, which is funny because they went to I think the Marina Bay Sands, if I'm not mistaken, or
Mhm.
at least like they tried to go to, like they were trying to do a con in Singapore. It was awesome. There's a couple of other places that took place in Singapore. I just can't remember
I.
what they are. But Great Pretender is like the biggest one because they
Mhm.
had like 3 episodes where they were in Singapore, and they drew like the Marina Bay Sands, the gardens by the bay.
Mhm.
Singapore looks so pretty in that episode, except there's no Singlish in there. That's so sad, but it's okay.
I mean, it would be so great to actually have Singlish in English dub. To be honest, I would actually watch English dub if I heard Singlish. Not gonna lie. Also, says there is a part in a place further than universe that happens in Singapore as well. That's actually pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. I have to check it. I have to check it out. Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of people just don't know that Malaysia and Singapore were one country up to 1963, I think. When did Singapore leave Malaysia? Let me check. Singapore left Malaysia
63 or
in
65.
1965. Yeah,
Ah.
sorry, almost close. So we were one country until quite recently,
Mm-hmm.
like people give the analogy that it's like the States and Canada, and I was like, no, that is not even close,
No.
because Canada and the States have a shared culture, but they were never one country. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Canada is technically Commonwealth, and it's still under British ruling, like just like we are a Commonwealth in a
Mm-hmm.
way. But what's the word for it? Like Singapore and Malaysia were technically one country. So we have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of shared culture, and I think it's very easy for Singaporeans to sound Malaysian and Malaysians to sound Singaporean.
Mm-hmm.
Um I mean there is obviously going to be subtle differences, but for the most part you can say the accent is kind of similar-ish. In fact, sometimes I can't even tell. When I go to Singapore, some
Mm-hmm.
people really sound Malaysian and some people really sound Singaporean. But they could be Malaysians working in Singapore, who knows. But yeah.
If I may ask, are you actually from the south of Malaysia?
No, no, no. I
Ah.
am actually central, so I just KL
Ah.
primarily.
Ah.
Yeah, like the
Because.
greater KL and all that.
Mm-mm. SG is Singapore is the better version of Malaysia, but we all know that our food is basi. Welcome Asu.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna get my Malaysian passport revoked. Um But I like the food in Singapore. Okay, I'm gonna explain myself before I get killed
No, no
and
worries, no
somebody
worries.
removes my Malaysian passport. The thing about Singapore is that the local food may not be better, but the
Mhm,
Western food is very good, and the Japanese food and things like that, because they get better produce. So when you have better produce, it's hard to beat. Like chicken rice in Singapore is really, really good because they get better rice.
mhm,
They get better chicken, so naturally it tastes better because the best stuff that grows in Malaysia, guess where it gets exported? It goes to Singapore because it's 3 times. I mean, Singapore, the singing dollar is 3 times the ringgit. So if I was a chicken seller, why wouldn't I sell 10 Sing dollar chickens versus 10 ringgits? I can make so much more money.
mhm.
So the best produce, unfortunately, they all go to Singapore. So when you have better produce, the food just tastes better sometimes. Like, depends
Mhm,
on the dish. You know, like I wouldn't eat siu kai in Singapore. It tastes terrible. Siu kai is like roasted chicken, but the
mhm,
bak kai, which is the white chicken, where it's just like a broth and you poach it, man, I'm sorry, it has Malaysia beat sometimes because the best kampung and village chickens go to Singapore, you
mhm,
know, and the rice is like in Cantonese, they say yat lap, yat lap. So it's like one piece, one grain, because
mhm.
that's how high quality the rice is. And then when you go to the local chicken rice seller, you have what we call broken rice, where the rice is like broken and it's like, because they use cheap rice.
Mhm.
So yeah, there are some things. But you know what? Your namesake, nasi lemak, no. Malaysia still has better nasi lemak.
You know what's
Nasi lemak
funny
in
about
Singapore
this,
tastes
right? This
weird.
avatar, the Nasi Lemak,
What?
is actually created by a
What?
Singaporean VTuber.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I have to commend them. It does look very Malaysian because I know that I've eaten nasi lemak in Singapore.
Mhm,
It's very very different. They like to eat it with ota ota or ota
mhm,
ota.
mhm.
And they like to color their rice green. So I'm like, ooh, okay. It's very different from Malaysian nasi lemak. And
Mhm,
like they have nasi lemak packet, but the sambal that they have is a little bit on the Swedish side.
mhm,
Whereas in Malaysia, most nasi lemak packets are quite savory
mhm,
and stuff like that. It's only the ones where you eat it like mixed rice where the sambal is a little sweet. So
mhm.
in Singapore, it seems to be all just one. Whereas in Malaysia, there's like different types of sambal. Sorry, I love food. I
No
love food. I
worries.
love
Let's
talking
actually
about
talk
food.
about that right now. What is your
My
favorite
favorite.
foods per se? Like your favorite?
Oh my god.
Yes, let's hear.
I love Asian food in general.
Yes,
I'm
agree.
really like I'm sorry. I'm not a big white people food. Like I don't
Agree,
really
agree.
like burgers. I don't really like pizza. I don't really like pasta. Unless they're fusion, which is hilarious. So like
Really?
my favorite burger joint is this burger place in Malaysia. It's called My Burger Lab. And they
Mhm.
do fusion burgers really, really well. Like
Oh.
super well. Yeah, it's so good. I mean, cause like, I lived in the States for a while and
Mhm.
when I eat the burgers there, I can't eat it. I just don't enjoy it. It doesn't taste good to me.
Yes.
I need to have a little spice
Mhm.
and things like that. And yeah, and I just don't, but I love Mexican food. I love Mexican food
Yes,
too. I think
definitely.
the key is that I like spicy food. I like Middle Eastern food too, because
Same.
it's very spicy.
Spicy food is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, spicy food. So I guess my favorite foods are all spicy food.
Same, same.
But if I had to narrow it down to a cuisine, I would obviously say Malaysian first,
Mm,
which
mm,
is a
mm, mm,
cheat because technically that's three cuisines into one, Malay, Chinese, and Indian. So I'm
mm.
cheating here by saying Malaysian. um, Followed by, I guess, Thai and then Japanese.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
will
those would be my top three.
I will agree with you. Asian food is definitely better. I know I'll get canceled in my country, but I'll still say American food is disappointing. Like the burgers here are like way too oily, I'd say, and there's too much grease in there, and there isn't much spice per se. Like whenever I go to like a
Yeah.
Thai restaurant
Yeah.
in like or an Indian restaurant here in the States, I just like I order the spiciest and it's like, hey, it's a fair warning, it's really spicy. But then when I eat it, I'm like, it's not spicy. There's no spice in there. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. I guess you just have to speak Thai and say my Pete, my Pete. Oh, technically that's less spicy. Pete ka, Pete. Keep Pete cup, Pete cup. That means more spice, more spice.
The only fear is that they start speaking full Thai to me because I wouldn't be able to communicate.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Then you just be like, oops. You just say, you just know enough to say spicy, please, just so that you get the spice.
Definitely. Also, welcome Meowcat Max. Talking about cuisine right now, by the way. So,
Mhm.
just curious, is there any food that you would say you don't like?
Oh, you know what? Mm, I like everything. Oh, so I'm gonna tell you a hilarious story. I even like things that I'm kind of deathly allergic to.
Really?
So I can't eat too much undercooked eggplant. So if
Mm-hmm.
you want to rush me to the hospital, feed me baba ganoush. Um, um, yeah. So I remember, I mean, because at that time when I was growing up, Middle Eastern food wasn't a big thing in Malaysia. So I
Mm-hmm.
ate baba ganoush when I was in the States, and then I'm kind of allergic to eggplant, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't really overcook baba ganoush, which is a Middle Eastern eggplant dip dish. And then I
Mm-hmm.
remember eating it, and then my tongue swelled up, and then I actually had to go to the hospital to get a shot. But
Ah, dang.
I still love eating eggplant, so I will eat baba ganoush. I will eat eggplant dishes. I just have to be careful that I don't reach a point where my tongue swells up that I can't breathe, but I still eat it. I guess what don't I like? I don't know. There's no food that I don't like. Like I don't really like tauge,
Mm.
which is bean sprouts, and technically the mung bean sprouts,
Mm-hmm.
which is because I like the soybean sprouts. That I love that, but I don't really like the mung bean sprouts. But you know what? If it's in my char kway teow or in my curry laksa, I'll
Mm-hmm.
just eat it anyway. Yeah. So I don't have anything that I cannot not eat.
In that case, I would say other than like the eggplants thing, I would say you're somewhat lucky. I would say before, I have a similar situation. Your situation with eggplants is actually my situation with jackfruit. To be honest, I really like to
Oh
eat it,
wow.
but it actually swells my throat. So like, yeah.
Ooh. Ooh, oh gosh, okay. Yeah, but I relate to that. You just know how much you can eat before it gets too swollen and you go to the hospital. Nino, Nino. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, oh, somebody asked, which is, because I'm also looking at the chat, which is better, curry or laksa? Ooh, oh, don't ask me to choose. I like them both. And laksa, like, I love all the laksas. I even like Johor laksa, which is like, a lot of people think it's an abomination, but I'm like, no, that's so good. Johor laksa with like the spaghetti is so good. I love
Mm.
Assam laksa. I love Sarawak laksa. Curry, oh my god, I love curry laksa. I
Ah, yes,
love
yes,
white
yes.
curry
Mm.
laksa. I love dry curry laksa. Oh, don't ask me to choose. Cannot
You
choose.
know, you're
Both.
making me want to eat laksa. And yes, we can actually cook laksa over here in the US because we do bring back like the package laksa.
Yeah.
Assam laksa,
Yeah.
walao CK. Do you have to make me? Oh my god.
Yeah, I love all of the laksas. So I can't choose. I'm sorry. I'll just eat them all. Oh, somebody said I voiced Boba Boy and Rimba Risa. Oh, well, well, I guess thank you for that comment for making your childhood fun. It was really funny because I was doing an interview over the other day at the CF Discord, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody brought up my visual reel, which also had like bola kampong and saladin and all this other stuff. And a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, Suling is like Malaysian childhood starter pack." And I was like, "Oh, I guess so. Yeah, with saladin, bola kampong, Bobo Boy, Rimba Racer, Super Strikers. I was also in Super Strikers. Yeah, I guess it is a Malaysian startup act.
Yeah, I think I actually probably watched Bobo Boy when I was younger. Just that I don't remember because like the last time I went to Malaysia, I think we do watch like Astral sometimes, or like the cartoons as well.
Yeah. Then you would have watched me because I only, just as a disclaimer, I only voiced the English version of Bobo Boy as Ying and other side characters here and there. But if you watched it on Disney Channel, you watched it in English. That is me
Hmm.
as Ying. Yeah. I have done some voices in the Malay version. I was like just side characters and stuff. But the biggest one that people would probably know me is Kikita from the movie. She never came back though. I was like, why? You already went to space, but like Bobo Boy Galaxy went to space and Kikita's not there. I don't know why. I hope they bring back Kikita. I would love to
Hopefully,
come
we'll be
back.
looking forward to actually watching you
Theater.
come back on the Malay dub.
Yeah, in the Malay dub, yeah. I the only thing that I've not been like big famous IP wise is Upin and Ipin and Agent Ali. So Agent Ali has like eluded me for a very long time. Like I auditioned for the English version, but I didn't get selected. And so far, I also auditioned for the Malay version, but I haven't gotten selected. So I'm like, oh, one day, hopefully, I'll be able to get on Agent Ali. One day, cross my
Hmm.
fingers. I really want to get onto Agent Ali. Agent Ali is great.
Funny thing, you mentioned Upin Ipin. When I first started being a VTuber, one of the jokes I made was like I was going to become an Upin and Ipin VTuber, or make that my thing. But then that would
Yeah,
cause a
Upin
lot of
and Ipin.
issues, a lot of copyright issues.
Yeah, Upin and Ipin is like the biggest. I mean the oldest IP in Malaysia. Um, But I think the biggest IP it's probably Popo Boy and Agent Ali at the moment, and maybe Upin Ipin. So like the three of them are like the for local content. So 1 out of 3 is not bad. Hopefully I'll be 2 out of 3.
We'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I hope so one day. One day, cross fingers.
Yes, definitely. Also, Hirashai, Ohio, welcome Murasaki, Kyuri. Uh,
Oh yes, welcome everybody. Thank you
yes.
for coming to watch.
Also, I like how everyone is casually calling me an uncle while I'm guessing some of them are actually older.
No, it's okay. I don't mind being sister if your uncle or miss. I'd be like, yes,
No
my
worries.
age.
At most, it'll be like older sister or like that.
Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
yeah.
But yeah, that is actually crazy. Like how many roles you've been singing.
Yeah, for somebody who didn't really I'm very fortunate for somebody from a so-called smaller country. I do have quite a bit of animation and video game roles, so I'm quite thankful for all that.
Hmm.
Yeah, just very lucky.
But yeah, I am definitely looking forward to seeing you. Your newest animation role, if I remember correctly, it was Kakeki Shoujo, or
Yes, it is Kageki Shoujo. So I voice Akia's mom
mm-hmm.
in episode 7 and a bit of Walla here and there. I don't know what episodes the Walla bits are because like when you dub anime, it's done like line by line, scene by scene. So sometimes like I think maybe the director mentioned which episode it was for, but I was like really like too excited and nervous that it didn't register. So I don't know which episode I'm in for the Walla bits. So Walla
Mm-hmm.
basically is an industry term for background voices. So I voiced like some random students here and there in a particular scene. I
Mm-hmm.
said something like, "Oh my gosh, what you doing here?" Or I can't remember. I don't remember. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know what episodes those are. I know that Akia's mom appears in episode 7, and that's about it.
In that case, time to watch episode 7 when it releases, or if it.
Yeah, it's already out.
Okay, in
Actually,
that
we're
case, time to watch
at
episode
episode
7, just for the
we're at
plot.
episode 9 at the moment. yeah. So, I mean, it was my first anime role, like, well, not first anime role, because I've done anime dubbing in Malay before, but
Mm-hmm.
English and Funimation, and a lot of people start off with Walla bits, basically unnamed characters. So the fact that I started off with a named bit, which a character, which is Akia's mom, and my name is actually on the credit list,
Mm-hmm.
is pretty amazing by itself. I'm like, whoa, okay, my name's on the credit list. Hmm.
Huge respect to that. Now, I'm sure they'll
Yeah.
be curious. What is actually the process of like applying to a Funimation or like in general, a voice acting role?
Oh, okay. It's not easy. I'm gonna tell that right off the bat. It's not easy. And like some people ask, was it because of no straight roads? I said, no, not at all. This booking was literally a year in the making. Um, like 1 year in the making to get to this point. And all I can say is that it takes time. So I will cerita now, cerita like pada zaman dahulu, once upon a time. Um, the casting director at Sound Cadence, her name is Marissa Lenti.
Mm-hmm.
She posted a public tweet asking, "Hi, I would like to add new talent to the Sound Cadence roster.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start off with this. Uh, can I hear from people who do dubbing in English as well as another language?" And I was like, "Oh, hey, that's me. I do English and Malay." You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I I I immediately DM'd her, and she passed me her email,
Mm-hmm.
and then I sent her clips from Shaolin Showdown, which I did it in Malay. Some clips of Bobo Boy. I had some clips from Bola Kampong and a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of other stuff. And then I sent it over to her, and she said she looked at it and she was like, "Oh, this stuff is great. Okay, here is the Sound Cadence roster form. It's a
Mm-hmm.
public form, by the way, so anybody can go and submit to it. It's on their website and stuff like that." And she said, "Okay, this is a public forum, but I want you to put in the comments that I, Marissa Lenti, asked you, Suling Chan, to fill this form up, date it, blah, 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 and hopefully that gets you on the roster." And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Ooh, yeah, this is going to be my big break, blah, 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 blah." This happened in September 2020. I heard nothing until April 2021.
Ah.
So I have no idea. I really thought that the sound cadence thing was a bust, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess people maybe they just, I don't know, when they evaluated my stuff eventually they just like, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And then suddenly in April I started receiving auditions, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, okay, yes, I finally got onto the roster. And and that was in April. And then I started getting auditions from them.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a couple of other animes. They're out now, so I can talk about it. Like I auditioned, like, they sent stuff like Dragon Goes House Hunting
Mm-hmm.
and Full Dive. What is it called? Full dive. My life is a shitty RPG or something,
Oh,
or
that one.
better. My shitty life. My shitty life is better than this RPG or something. It's got a really really long title. So I remember auditioning. So those were the first two animes that I ever auditioned for.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like didn't do so well or whatever, and then they sent other stuff. And I just kept auditioning. I just kept auditioning for everything and anything that they sent me unless it didn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, one day something's gonna hit. And then finally, the audition for Kageki Shoujo was sent in August. And I was like, ooh, I know Kageki Shoujo because I am a big Takarazuka fan.
Mm-hmm.
And Kageki Shoujo is all about Takarazuka. So I was like, oh, I know about this anime even before they sent this over. For the rest of the animes, like Dragon Ghost House Hunting and Full Dive, I had no idea. I had no idea what animes they were.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not my kind of anime. I like I like shoujo stuff and a little bit more on the serious side. So Kakeki Shoujo and Wonder Egg Priority and Fena Pirate Princess, these are the kind of animes that I like to watch.
Mhm.
So, and I got the audition for Kakeki Shoujo. I was like super excited because I knew exactly what the show was about. I knew the characters in Japanese and all that. And I auditioned for literally everybody in that audition packet. I was like, okay, I'm gonna audition for almost everybody. So I
Huge
did.
respect.
Well, usually I do that for most of the sides that I get,
Mhm.
because I want to also push myself and get more practice. So, when I get an audition side, unless it's a male sounding voice, I usually audition for every female or female sounding character in that side, unless it's like a specific ethnicity. Like if the person is black, then I don't really do that, or Latino or Latina. And things like that. So I usually generally audition for everybody. Like in an anime, it's all fair game. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna audition for everybody. Woo!
Mhm.
And then that happened. And I remember being a little sad when I saw the cast list posted. So they already casted like everybody that I was auditioning for. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess. On to the next one.
Mhm.
And then halfway during September, I get an email from the casting department saying that, oh, the additional the director would like you to come in for additional voices. And I was like, ooh, okay, yes, I guess my auditions are going somewhere. Somebody's listening to them. So I said yes, I would love to be part of Kageki Shoujo. And I replied, and then I recorded that episode, and that was it.
Dang, that's crazy. Now, how is it
Yeah.
recorded per se? Because like I have watched voice actors record in like studios, and I have like seen the different mics. Like I know that there's like a mic where it's basically like a human. It looks like a human head, but then
Oh, I've seen that before. Yeah.
yeah, there's like so many mics.
Um. Okay. Yeah. So I have my home studio set up, which took like an entire year to do.
Mhm.
So right, that's why I say this whole booking for Kageki Shoujo just came together so serendipit. Oh, how do you even pronounce that?
Mhm.
Serendipitously. Yes. Okay. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Serendipitously. Um. So I've been working on my home studio for a while. I started building my home studio in November 2020,
Mhm.
and then like I think it only got finally finished in August 2021, right, almost right before, and I added the final touches a week before my Kageki Shoujo recording session. So
Mhm.
I was like, whoa, everything. So I have a mid-range XLR mic. I use a Blue Baby bottle.
Mhm.
Um and I use my interface is a Audient ID4.
Mhm.
I have like a PVC booth where I used sound blankets. And then I have windows in the room that I have my PVC booth in. So I had to treat the windows.
Mhm.
So that was why it took a long time because Malaysia was in a lockdown for a really long time. So
That is
the
true.
contractors couldn't come in to fix the window.
Mhm.
They were supposed to fix it in May, and like the week that they were gonna come, we were in a very strict lockdown. And I was like, damn it, I just missed it by a day, literally by a day. The Tuesday that they were gonna come to my house was the first day of MCO, and I was like, oh.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, and we had to wait. I had to wait until September when
Mhm.
they started releasing like MCO and contractors who were vaccinated and people who are double vax could do these kind of things.
Mm.
And so they finally were able to change my windows in the first week of September, and then I recorded Kakiki Shoujo the end of September
Mm.
on the 27th of September. I still remember that. So the windows got put in, and then I added another layer of acrylic to
Mhm.
the windows, so it's like triple layered. So sound doesn't really come in. Some sound comes in. It still gets in a little
Mhm.
bit, but it's not it's nothing too difficult that I can just easily edit it out. It's
Mhm.
very easy to get rid of. Yeah, because of the triple windows. So yeah, it's been a long time in the making.
Definitely. If I may ask, are you supposed to be the one that edits it out yourself, or do they have like an editing
Oh, it
person?
depends. It depends on the kind of production it is. So for Kageki Shoujo, they have an engineer.
Mhm.
So what we do is we connect via this remote recording software called Source Connect.
Mhm.
The version that we use was the free version, which is called Source Connect now. And
Mhm.
there is an engineer on the other side, and basically using the software, I just blah into the mic, and then they edit it on their end,
Mhm.
and that's it. Yeah. For my other remote jobs, so far it's been pretty much audition for it, record on my own, and that's it.
Mhm.
And then lightly edit and then send it back.
That's actually really interesting. If I may ask, like, because I'm sure
Yeah,
there are
sure.
also a lot of VTubers out there that kind of want to have their own setup, but they don't know how to start for their own like
Yeah.
recording studio. How would you recommend the startup like equipment be?
Okay, that's a great question. So I guess it really depends on what your aspirations are. I don't
Mhm.
really know much about VTubing, but um if you're just gonna do it for streaming and VTubing,
Mhm.
I guess getting a semi-treated room with a dynamic mic would be
Mhm.
good enough. In fact, actually, if you use a dynamic mic, you may not even need to treat the room. So what a dynamic mic is, a dynamic mic picks up a very specific sound. It's very what they call hyper focus.
Mhm.
So you could get away with an untreated room, or noise, like sound coming into the room, and the dynamic mic would only like pick up what is in front of it.
Mhm.
Now we don't use dynamic. So an example of a dynamic mic would be the SM7B, the Shure SM7B.
Mhm.
Now for voice work though, we don't use dynamic mics because the I mean, there's always a give and take.
Mhm.
So the give is that it doesn't capture the qualities of your voice as well as what we call a condenser mic.
Mhm.
So a condenser mic is the mic that we usually use, or a shotgun mic, which is another form of a condenser mic,
Mhm.
for voice work. A dynamic mic is not recommended for voice work
Mhm.
so much because it doesn't capture the quality of the voice and things like that. So if you were just a VTuber and you just want to do streaming, just get a dynamic mic setup. There's the SM7B is expensive, but there's a lot of more affordable options.
Mhm.
Or you could get away with a USB mic, a high quality USB mic setup. Like
Mhm.
Razer has a couple of mics. I used to use a USB mic, which is the mic in my photo, which is the Rode NT1,
Mhm.
NT USB, sorry, the Rode NT USB. There is the AT2020 USB mic. These USB, and then there's the infamous or very famous Blue Yeti,
Mhm. Yes, the
that
blue. Yeah.
a lot of people use. Yeah, that everyone uses. And in fact, a lot of people use it for voice work.
Mhm.
The only thing is that if you use a USB mic, you would need to treat the room just slightly. Like, when I say treat the room, it usually means to get rid of reverb and have a very clean, so it doesn't sound like you're echoing. So
Mhm.
how you do that is you just have things that, what's the word for it? Like uh absorb echoes and reflections, like wall panels, acoustic panels, foam, these kind of things, fabric, all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. So for that would be for a VTuber exclusive setup. But if
Mhm.
you really want to get into remote voice acting, then you're gonna need to have a separate setup, a more
Mhm.
upgraded setup, if you will. So you got to make sure there's no noise level, like it's absolutely quiet. That's one.
Mhm.
Number two, you have to make sure that it sounds absolutely dry. So that means like there's no reverb, there's no echoes, and things like that. That takes quite a while. There is a very famous tutorial called "I Want to Be a Voice Actor." It literally is called. The website is called "I Want to Be a Voice Actor." It is by D. Bradley Baker, who is like a super famous voice actor, and he's
Mhm.
very famous for all the creature work that he's done. His latest creature work is that cute little thing in Shang-Chi. And
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken, he's also in The Mandalorian. He's like the frog thing in The Mandalorian,
Mhm.
um, the frog creatures. So he's very famous, and he has this website, and he shows his setup. And I followed that setup to a T, and
Mhm.
then just added a couple of more sound blocking stuff like my windows and things like that. I do need to add a little bit more wall panels in my booth because it does have some echoes when I yell and I clap.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so it's always a work in progress. One day I would like to get a proper booth, but the problem with my room at the moment is that it just doesn't have enough space to put a proper vocal booth in it.
Mhm.
So hopefully one day. Oh, there's a question. A mixer is required for the dynamic mic, right? When you say mixer, oh, you mean like an interface? Yes, you need an interface for a dynamic mic. So a lot of VTubers I know prefer using USB mics because all you need is the USB mic.
Mhm.
Yeah. But that kind of setup is not it's not suitable for voiceover work. For voiceover work, you really want a cardioid XLR mic.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah. And the problem with that is that you have to get a proper booth. So I know a lot of VTubers who are also voice actors, and they have separate setups
Mhm.
for their gigs. Yeah, they have a voiceover setup and like when they're at their VTubing setup
Mhm.
and streaming setup because it's very uncomfortable in the booth sometimes. It's very hot, very very warm.
Really?
Yes, because I can't have the AC on when I record because it'll
I.
get into yeah, it'll just
Mhm.
get into the recording. So and I have like 7 layers of blankets all over my like built around my PVC booth, so it does get very warm. In between sessions, like in between recordings, I switch on the AC just to cool the room down a little bit, but it does get very very warm.
Mhm. But yeah,
Hmm.
the more you know. I actually had no idea because I've never really been to a booth or seen what a booth looks like per se. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
so yeah, it's
Mhm.
really interesting to hear about like the setup and like the.
Oh, let me see if I can send you some photos
Well,
then.
really,
I guess you can. I don't know if you can stream it
yeah, I could definitely put it
on.
on there.
Oh, cool. Okay, so this is my setup. It looks really really ghetto. I'm just warning you. It just looks it's very comfortable. Um
Just a,
let me see where let me pull it from my phone.
but that is actually
Uh
pretty interesting.
Here, let me send it to you. There we go. Okay, so I have 3 pictures. Give me a moment because I'm
No worries.
sending it from my phone,
Take
and
your
it only
time.
allows me to send 1 picture at a time. Like, what is going on? Why does it only allow me 1 picture at a time? Uh, oh, okay, there we go. This is the second picture. So you can see it's very cozy
Mhm.
because I have a lot of layers. And I want it color. Like, if you see a lot of voice actors, they don't put, like, covers on it because they're just okay with the blue. Like, inside, it's a moving blanket or acoustic blanket, and they're usually just, like, blue. But I like mine to have colors. So I put them into, like, what is it called? Blankets.
Mhm. So this is the first
Yeah.
picture. If you guys are curious, and I'm going to just remove this one. For a brief
Yeah.
moment, I almost forgot how to remove the pictures from OBS. But yeah, this is the second one. But I never know, like, actually, when I thought booth, I kind of actually thought it was like a really big booth, per se. I didn't know that you could actually put it really, like, convenient, like, in a corner of a room or just, like, a small part of the room.
Oh, yeah, it's totally fine.
But yeah, not
You
to.
can have it in the corner of the booth and stuff like that. Like my booth is about 120 by 120, 100 cm by 120 cm, which is quite. It's quite normal. Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people have that kind of booth. Oh, someone says it's very ghetto. Yeah, it is. It just needs to work. I make
mean,
mine look really neat though.
it's not bad. I would say. Like, I actually do like the setup. Like the inside, it looks really professional.
Yeah, in the inside. Oh, that's my old setup. I used to have a table. I should take new pictures. I used to have a table mic stand, but
Mm-hmm.
now I have a boom arm. I finally got a boom arm. So my mic is like,
Congratulations.
ooh, thank you. So with the boom arm, I can actually stand in my booth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so much better now with the boom arm.
I bet. Like,
And yes, someone says it looks really hot in there. It is. It does get very, very, very hot. Hmm.
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Wait, isn't there like a fan like on the left hand side?
Yes, there is, but mm, it's kind of like it's not enough to cool the room down because when you're recording and depending on what you're recording, it can get really, really hot. So
Dang. Is there
yeah.
any way to make a really like not that stuffy, hot and stuffy recording room setup per se? Because I'll admit.
Yes. Yes, definitely. But these like a proper recording booth
Mm-hmm.
would have it. So the issue with my current setup is that if you look in the pictures, the
Mm-hmm.
table in my booth is built into the room. So there's no way to remove it. So that's
Oh.
why I built my booth around the built-in table. So
Mm.
I have literally no space. So this is the room, and then the room ends at where like you see there's a blue cupboard at the on the what is it on the left side, and
Mm-hmm.
then that's it the room, and then the door to this room is like my back is literally to the wall when I take the picture. It's a very tiny room,
Mm-hmm.
so there's no space to put a booth here if I don't remove the built-in table. And I can't remove the built-in table. Yeah, because I rent this place. So I can't, I mean, well, kinda. But it's like, yeah, I just can't remove the built-in table.
Mm-hmm.
So one day, hopefully, um, I hope to be able to get like, move to a new place or maybe one day convince the owner to let me remove the built-in table, maybe
Mm-hmm.
one day. And the proper recording booths, which I'm gonna plonk into the chat, which is this one, has a ventilation um booth, and they're very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
See if this one here. Did it show?
Wait, is
Is
that a
it
link?
pixelated? No, it's a picture. I
Oh,
just
okay,
copied
okay,
and
my bad.
pasted.
Also, one of our
Yeah.
viewers quickly gonna ask because I do know that you're also.
Oh no, I'm fine. I have till 11:30.
Oh,
I
okay,
moved
okay, okay.
shifted things around. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I was a
No
bit worried
worries.
about rushing. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, someone's asking, what did you do for longer recording sessions, or did you just suffer through it?
I just suffer through it. But I really I'm one of those weird people that can tolerate heat very, very well.
Really?
Yes.
Teach me.
Yeah, I don't know. I can tolerate heat very, very, very well. I don't tolerate cold very well,
Mhm.
but I tolerate heat so well. So it hasn't really bothered me. There's an AC in the room, so whenever I need to do a recording session, I just need to blast the AC at 16 degrees Celsius for about 10 minutes. The room, because remember the room is very, very small. And the
Mm-hmm.
PVC blankets are fabric, so the
Mm-hmm.
cold air gets in, and I find that usually sets me up for an hour, a good hour. Yeah,
Dang.
an hour or two. But yeah. So these proper booths that I sent you have a ventilation uh, unit built into it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's actually really okay. That's a huge relief though, because yeah, I could understand like what it's like with a stuffy setup. Like one time I actually got
Mhm.
sick because where I used to stream it like that, it was actually my room, and my room is really hot and stuffy. Like there's barely
Mhm.
any ventilation there. So
Mhm.
yeah, uh,
Mhm.
alongside my, I'm sure you could probably hear some background noise. It's most likely the computer fan because my
Mhm.
laptop setup, it's a
Mhm.
really thin laptop, so it heats really. It easily heats, overheats. So yeah, with the fan, with the external fan like that, it actually makes the room even hotter. So yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Heat is always going to be an enemy. But one day, hopefully, I really want to get one of these really nice vocal booths. Just to clarify, it's really not about the money at this point
Mm-hmm.
because I think, yeah, but it's more along the lines of space. I just don't have the space in my house
Mm-mm-mm.
to do so. Yeah.
If I may ask, how much does it cost to like create your own booth for voice acting per se?
Oh, the cost of the booth?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the one that I showed, it was 600 ringgit for the moving blankets, the PVC, everything. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just the booth itself.
600 ringgits for just the booth itself. I don't know if it's a good deal or not. The only thing I know is I could afford it.
Yeah, I mean, 600 ringgit is only like less than 200 US dollars. It's like 150 US
Yeah,
dollars.
it's 150, and like I would say a lot of things are worth like 150 in US. So like if I had to spend that, I mean, I'll say that is a lot cheaper than if we had to buy books for like school or like that. The books at school
Mm.
are way higher price than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully one day. This Studio Bricks one is really expensive because it's from Spain, but
Mhm.
there is a slightly cheaper, a more affordable China option,
Mhm.
which I saw another American voiceover. I don't know. Wow, that must have cost him crazy amounts to ship. Because at least for the Studio Bricks, they have an American office,
Mhm.
so the shipping is not so crazy.
Mhm.
If it's available in the American office, um, but what it's like, but this one from China is pretty good. So hopefully I'll get it one day. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. It looks really cool too.
Mhm.
Quite cute. It comes in like all sorts of colors. Yeah, it's
Oh,
just that I don't have a space. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really want space one day.
I know you
I
can't
really
get,
want.
you can't have like not enough space to be honest. Like,
Yeah, I need more space. Like this is the booth that I really want. It's
oh
from
my,
China.
it looks really really good. It looks like
I
a
mean, that's
giant
the
station.
China. It
Mhm.
does, right? I mean, obviously the white one that I showed you looks better, but um let me see if I have an actual picture of this. Because one of the actors in the US, like I mentioned,
Mhm.
let me see what's his name. Um bought this same booth,
Mhm.
and I reached out to him and I asked him like, "Hey, what I mean, is it good? Does it look is it great? And he was very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And because I didn't actually know anybody that bought this booth, but he did, and I recognized it immediately because it's so unique, you know? It like, you know, when you see
Mm-hmm.
it, it's so different from other vocal booths. And he said it was great. And I was like, oh, okay. And because it's coming from China, it's so much
Mm-hmm.
cheaper to ship it
Mm-hmm.
here than it would be to ship the other one, the American ones, which
Definitely.
won't make any sense. Yeah. Oh, here, I'm gonna see if I can post this picture for you. It
Sure thing.
looks amazing. So this is the actual unit. Doesn't it look like the picture?
It actually looks like an
It
actual
looks like the picture.
office, a mini office.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's so cool, and that's his setup, and I was like, "Oh, one day I'm gonna get there. One day I'm gonna have a setup like that." It looks so good. I just don't have space at the moment. One
Mm-hmm.
day. Yes.
Not going to lie. Like I know I won't be able to fit this in my room, but I kind of actually want to have it. But then, yeah, I wouldn't be able to use it
Yeah.
properly. But it does look super
Yeah.
nice. Not going to lie. Like,
Yeah. It is. It's not cheap. It's pretty expensive. Like, the first one I showed you, the white one, is
mm,
probably about 10,000 US dollars.
wait, the white one's 10,000 US.
Yeah, I mean, roughly around 8 to 10,000 US dollars for 4 by 4. I think it's 3 and 4.5. Yeah.
Dang.
It is expensive, studio one. This one is, I think, let me try to think. It's around, with shipping to Malaysia and everything, it's like 9,000 ringgit. Let me see how much that is.
9,000.
It's much cheaper. It is much cheaper than the first one that I showed you.
Mm-hmm.
How much is 9,000 ringgit?
9,000 would be
Con-
around like
Convert.
2,500, 200, 2,000.
Yeah, around 2,500 US dollars. So much more cheaper because shipping is not crazy. So like if I were to get the US one,
Mm.
it is 10,000. It would cost like 10,000 US dollars with 2,000 US dollars just to ship it from the States. I'm like, no, thank you.
Dang.
Yeah, that would like that's the cost of this China booth
Mm-mm-mm.
with shipping. But I guess because we're so much closer to China, and
Mm.
because ties between China and Malaysia are more what's the word for it? Are just so much more uh closer, and there's a lot of connectivity. So
Mm-hmm.
shipping from China is a lot easier and cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And dang, like I when you said 10K, right? Not going to lie, I instantly ah, my heart sunk. That one is really expensive. That definitely is
Yeah.
really expensive.
It is very expensive.
Yes, it is crazy expensive. And if you're like adding all the other costs to for like say the lap for the desktop computer, like monitors and all of that, it definitely feels like it's going to be super expensive.
Yeah. It is. It's definitely an investment for sure.
Hmm.
Hmm.
If I may ask, wait, first off, do you just a time check? Did you still have more time or like
Yeah, yeah, I do.
okay? I want to ask, have you actually recorded in like the main studio or like went to like a studio to record before or like
I always do that. I mean, that was what I was doing before the pandemic.
mm-hmm. If I may
Yeah.
ask, do you guys record like together or like just
No, it's
individually?
separate.
Ah,
Yeah. It's separate. We
mm-hmm.
always record separate. Yeah.
And what type of mics are used? Like, are they do they tend to use like the ones where you could actually the ASMR mics where you could actually speak from the left side or the right side, or do you use like a regular condenser or like I forgot what the other type of mic. Dynamic mic, yes. Or is it dynamic?
Mm-hmm. They usually use very high end condenser mics.
Ah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like the one that I use is a mid-range mic, but the studio that I go to, they also use let me see, what else do they use? They also use the Rode NT2A, which is the equivalent of my Blue Baby bottles. So they use
Mhm.
mid-range mics. But sometimes they use Neumann U87, which is like uh 5,000 US dollars. That's a really high-end one.
Mhm.
Or they use other Neumanns and stuff like that. So the mics they use is different, but the space that they have is totally, it's like a proper booth. Nothing gets in there, even like thunder and lightning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's actually interesting to hear. Uh,
Yeah.
like you guys have separate. Is it like its own room per se? Like, is it like the rooms that are used to record songs per se, or is it like just
Yeah.
small?
Yep. That's pretty much it.
Ah,
Yeah.
the more you learn, honestly, the more you learn.
Yeah.
One thing I actually also noticed. This is a bit off topic from voice acting, but you also do
hmm
martial arts.
Yes, I do. I do a lot of martial arts. I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah. I've been doing that for a while. It's probably what I like aside from this voice acting. Yeah, so I usually train um mm, 4 or 5 times a week.
Dang, that's serious dedication.
Yeah, I really like doing I really like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I may ask, what is your favorite uh, your favorite man? I should be ashamed because I also used to teach martial arts, but
Wait, what? Sorry? My favorite what?
I'm thinking of the term. I think it's like your
Move?
favorite like pin per se, or like
Pin. Oh, my I guess my favorite move, right?
yes, move.
For a long time, it used to be arm bars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, my Instagram handle, which yeah, don't follow me on Instagram. I hardly update my Instagram. But my Instagram handle used to be called Cupcake Armbar because I like cupcakes and I like arm bars. For the longest time,
Mm-hmm.
but lately since I went higher up in belt rank, it's quite difficult to get an arm bar sometimes. I still get them, but
Mm-mm.
not as often. I think my favorite move is what we call omoplata. So an omoplata is a shoulder lock. Let me see, what is it? I know the name. It's called omoplata. It's a shoulder lock. Yeah, it's a shoulder
Ah,
lock. Yeah, that's my favorite move.
that definitely does sound interesting. I mean, like, because my martial arts dojo wasn't like Brazilian Jiu Jitsu focused, we were like
Yeah.
learning the basics, so like the Americana, the
Oh yeah, Americana. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
that was
yeah.
actually my favorite to
Uh
be honest.
well, it's a lot of new people's favorite because it's easy.
Hmm.
It's a easy move to learn. Not too difficult.
Yes.
It's just hard to execute because when you get up in belt rank, everybody's like so good
Hmm.
that you can see it like a mile away. I won't say that it doesn't work in higher levels when you compete, but there are some techniques that are difficult to execute at a higher level because it's easy to watch out for it. But there are some people who do it really well, even at black belt.
Hmm.
It's just I guess everything just needs it just needs to have a good setup, and then you're
Definitely.
fine.
Also,
Yeah.
welcome Lilith. How are you doing? Someone actually asked, has another question in regards
Yes.
to voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if this has been asked yet, but there seems to be a very different voice acting culture depending on where you voice act. For example, in Japan and US, etc. What is voice acting like in Malaysia?
Ooh, that is such a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess it really depends. Mm, so when I dub, most times I dub Malay cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, this means that I dub a lot of Malay. And Malay humor is very, very literal. It's very slapstick, like super slapstick.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so to get that humor across, the stuff that I do to for Bubba Boy and stuff like that is very slapstick. So I guess that is the kind of style for Malay cartoons. But like for example, Rimba Racer was totally not Malaysian at all. The writer wanted a more international market for it. So the acting style is just very, I guess, American, for lack of a better word, because that's the norm, right? That's the culture that we consume and everything. So Rimba Racer was very international, very American. Bubba Boy and Bubba Boy is very slapstick, humorous, and things like that. So even in English, it's pretty slapstick. Um, so I guess it depends on the IP. Like I just finished doing voicing some prelays for animation,
Mm-hmm.
original animations from Malaysia. They're not out yet, so they're animating it right now. So
Mm-hmm.
one of it's very like cute and preschool like and um very, what's the word for it? It's very uh straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is also another slapstick. Like there's this term called lawak bodoh. It really is lawak bodoh. It's like, oh my god, lawak bodoh means like stupid humor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the literal translation for it. So this new one that I did is really like lawak bodoh. It's like we're just laughing in the booth, and it's a very specific Malaysian humor.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're trying to export it to the world, but we'll see. It's just random. I mean, the Japanese can do it with their funny Japanese humor. Why not Malay humor?
Definitely.
So, yeah. So I guess that if that answers your question, so the TLDR is that it depends on the IP that we're acting for. If it's an IP geared for an international market, then the voice acting is going to be very American.
Mm-hmm.
Like Saladin, for example. Saladin was made entirely in Malaysia, but it is so international. Everybody has American accents. The script writing is in American English and blah blah blah. Um, and then you have something like Bubba Boy and Upin Ipin. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if Upin Ipin has an English dub, to be honest, but Bubba Boy does. I would know. I'm in it. Bubba Boy is very local, very lawak bodo and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on the IP that we're dubbing and the kind. So the acting really depends on the IP, and because we get so much. I mean, like on TV, we used to get like Malay, English, and Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends. And like, let's go back to Dreamcatcher. I'm sure if Dreamcatcher gets dubbed into English, I have no idea what direction they're gonna go with. So I guess it really depends. Might sound Japanese. I mean, because it's really into Japanese.
Well, let's actually double
I'm
check
not
if CK is still in the chat. CK, what is the
sure.
plan for Dreamcatcher? If you're still there.
I think he was saying that it was Japanese for now, which makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, to focus on Japanese because to be honest, a lot of Malaysians don't watch Japanese. I mean Japanese anime in English, so it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
make sense for it to be in English for now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yes, if talking about Dreamcatcher, which character actually would you say piques your interest?
Oh, I have not explored all the characters. Let me let me pull it up.
No worries.
I mean, I've seen it. I just don't remember all the characters. Like, I mean, I know them as a whole, as a
Mm-hmm.
group, but I don't really know the
No,
characters.
no worries, no worries.
Uh, yeah. Yeah, so I would have to say I don't really know. Um they all look super cute though. They all
Yes.
look absolutely super 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 cute. Um and the school uniform, the Malaysian school uniform looks adorable. Although
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why there's a tie, like a ribbon. I guess they just wanted to make it cuter. But the ribbon kind of threw me off.
Mm.
But everything else looks really really cute.
Actually,
Yeah, I
the
kind of wish they didn't have the ribbon. Sorry, that's the only thing.
funny thing, the ribbon question actually got answered because I've actually interviewed Dreamcatcher as well. Um,
Oh, cool. What was the answer behind the ribbon?
so if I remember correctly, the ribbon was because they wanted to make it look cuter. Like they understood like tie
Cuter,
usually
right?
is more is the tie, but then like because they wanted to make it
Yeah,
cuter, so that they would use
correct.
ribbons instead.
Correct. Yeah, but that's not very Malaysian at all. I mean, if you really wanted to be authentic,
Mm-hmm.
then like the ribbon really is a bit strange. Like a tie is usually the norm. I mean, if you want to put a ribbon on the other girls that are wearing the non-Malaysian school uniform, you can, because like
Mm-hmm.
prefects and librarians have different uniforms
Mm-hmm.
from the rest, and you can make that look really really cute. You can
Mm-hmm.
put ribbons, you can do whatever you want and whatever, but it would have been nice to actually see the original Malaysian school uniform in its entirety versus the ribbon. But you know what? It's still really cute, so I don't really care. It just kind of threw me off. It doesn't bug me so much. Like I know some people are like super bugged by it, but I'm cool. I'm cool with it. It just like, oh, why is there a ribbon? Like it took me a while to register that it was a Malaysian school uniform because of
Mm-hmm.
the ribbon. Yeah.
Ah, I see. So
Yes.
just double checking, the usual Malaysian school uniform would be just like a tie, a regular tie like that.
No, it would just be empty. It would
Ah.
have nothing. A tie is usually if you're a prefect, if you're a librarian, or if you're, I don't know, some other position in power in school, then they'll make you wear a tie sometimes. Some schools have an entirely different uniform system for prefects and librarians. Like my school, they had like the prefects used to have a maroon red skirt
Mm-hmm.
and a white shirt and a tie. And the librarians would have the blue version of that. So
Mm.
it kind of looks like, there's one girl in their key art that is at the bottom that has like a dark blue skirt and a long sleeve shirt
Mm-hmm.
or something. Like she looks different from the rest. She has like a different uniform from the rest of the girls. To me, she's probably a librarian or a prefect.
Wait, let me just double
So
check your
they're
key art.
yeah. Yeah, somebody said prefect blazer is the biggest flex in school. Exactly. Having a prefect blazer is like the biggest flex in school. So I'll put it here since I just saw it. So the girl on the left on the bottom has like a totally different uniform.
Mm-hmm.
It's long sleeve. It has like a different skirt color. So she looks like she could be a prefect or a librarian.
You are actually correct. Yes. This was also covered in the podcast. Yeah, she's the librarian. She works in.
See, I knew it. Exactly. So it's familiar enough to me. It's just the rest of the other girls don't make any sense with the ribbon.
Mm.
Yeah, because it takes a while. It takes a while for you to register. Maybe just some suggestions. Maybe they could have one or two girls without the ribbon, and the girls with the ribbon are like class monitors or something like that. Because there are some schools, not a ribbon, but they have some schools that have badges, ties, um, that signify that they're monitors or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, welcome Ace controllers. So far, I think what we've just talked about, we were talking about like setups. We were talking about like her interest in VTubing. We were also talking about
Yeah.
anime. And talking
Yeah.
about interest in VTubing per se, I still remember you mentioned Wendy Lee, and then I just remembered she was apparently the English dub voice actress for my favorite anime, which is actually Haruhi.
Hmm.
The Haruhi.
Oh, yeah. I took a class with Wendy Lee, because everything's on remote now on Zoom.
Mm.
So I took a class with Wendy Lee. She was really cool.
But yeah, that's actually really cool. Like, I think actually, to be honest, you're actually the first voice actress I've actually interacted with.
Oh, that's cool. Yay.
Yes,
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
have
Uh,
never expected to actually interact with like a voice actor or a voice actress. So once again, thank you very much.
well, that's cool. Um, yeah, since the pandemic started in the US, I've had
Mhm,
the opportunity to what's the word with take a lot of classes with people that I've only heard about or
mhm,
respect, and I was like, ooh, like for example, I was able to take a class with Crispin Freeman.
mhm.
Crispin Freeman is the voice actor of Itachi and Alucard
Really?
in English, yes, and also Winston in Overwatch. So I took a
Dang.
class with him. He's got a really nice voice. I was kind of fangirling half the time while listening to what he said. But he's really strict. Oh my God. Crispin Freeman is very, very strict. And he won't mince words, and he's very he gives like straight, honest, but constructive feedback.
Mhm,
I also took a class with Wendy Lee. I took a class with Kira Buckland. Kira Buckland is the voice of Near, is it 2B from Near Automata.
mhm.
Um, who else did I take classes from? Yeah, taken a whole bunch from people that I've admired, and it was really really nice to take classes with people that you've always interacted with, and you'd be like, "Ooh, exciting." Um, yeah, so I guess there are some good things about the pandemic.
Someone's
Yeah.
asking, what about Laura Bailey? Have you taken classes with
Oh,
her?
Laura Bailey doesn't teach classes, as far as I know. I think she's just primarily a working actress. Um I don't think she does classes at all. Cassandra Lee Morris, if you know her, does classes. She is the voice of the little cat-like thing in Persona 5. Oh shoot, what is his name? I can't remember. Yeah.
But dang, wait,
So,
she's also a voice
yeah.
actor in SAO and Doraemon. Dang.
Yeah, Morgana, exactly. Somebody, yeah, she's the voice actor for Morgana,
Mhm,
Cassandra Lee Morris, and she's been in a whole bunch of stuff. So she has been um offering classes, and that's pretty cool. Um
mhm,
I haven't had the chance to take a class yet,
mhm,
because she's always booked out so fast. Hopefully I get to take a class with her. I want to take a class with Greg Chun as well.
mhm.
Um, apparently I heard he's really good. He's in the Yakuza games.
Really? Which
Uh,
character?
he is Yagami in Lost Judgment.
Ah.
Yeah. He's Yeah, he's been in the what is it? The Yakuza games for a while.
Mhm,
So hopefully I get to take a class with him. Apparently he's really really cool.
mhm.
Yeah. So there are a bunch of people that I want to take classes with. Um
Definitely.
yeah.
But yes, this is really interesting. I can actually
Yeah.
see I can see my one of my friends Dylus in the chat just like Morgana and like that.
Yeah, Morgana, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so I have about 5 minutes left before
Oh,
I
sure.
have to leave. I'm sorry about that,
Hey, no
but yeah,
worries.
I got one.
In that case, are there any quick questions? Otherwise, no worries. I do plan on inviting you back again. We do have like moments where we actually invite back the guest, probably as well with another guest or like that. And yeah,
Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, hopefully the next time I come back, I have other stuff. I'm auditioning for a lot of things, so hopefully it gets somewhere.
In that case, hopefully I also interact with like more voice actors or voice actresses, so we could actually have like a voice actress or voice actor series that we could probably have like different voice actors or actresses like interact with each other and probably like even like read some lines per se. That'll be actually quite interesting. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Hmm.
Woohoo.
Also, welcome Kaneko. How are you doing? But yeah, if there,
Yeah, any other final questions before I bid au revoir? Or bye-bye?
I think for the sake of time, we'll probably leave it to the next time because I do not want you to end the question.
Cool.
Yeah, but
No, that's fine. I will say, because I've been saying this in all my interviews, um, I have 3 goals in 2022.
mhm,
That if I say to the universe, it will somehow come true.
mhm,
I mean, I'm not just like saying it like, oh, blah, and then not working hard in the background to do it. But I hope my 3 big goals for 2022 are to book more anime roles.
mhm,
So hopefully that comes to fruition. Maybe a supporting cast. A supporting cast. I'm
mhm,
not going to be super ambitious and say lead for now, but definitely supporting cast
mhm,
is one. Number 2, I really want to get into Smite, Paladins, or Mobile Legends because I know that the studio that does them, Oaktron,
mhm,
does all these 3 entities. So if I can get into their roster, I hope to at least book one of these um IPs. And then the last dream that I have, it sounds like a really big dream, but I know a lot of people on it. Is
mhm.
to somehow get into Genshin Impact. I'm not
That'll
even
be
picky with Genshin
interesting. Not
Impact.
gonna lie.
I'm not even picky with Genshin Impact. Just put me in any MiHoYo IP and I'll be happy. Whether it's Tears of Terminus or, Honkai, whatever. I'm not picky. Just put me in one.
We'll be looking forward to that.
I and like a lot of people like have all these like really lofty goals and say like, oh, I want to be like in Batman and oh, I want to be in Nickelodeon. Oh, sorry, you can't because most of these. I know it's a little bit of a rant, but most of these IPs are union, and you can't be in the union, the SAG-AFTRA, if you don't live in the U.S.
Mhm,
and you don't, yeah, if you don't have a working visa and all these kind of things. Whereas these IPs that I've stated have hired remote international actors. So they're
mhm,
very, very possible. Like there are a couple of Australians in Genshin Impact, so I don't see why not. And they live in Australia and they record it from Australia.
mhm,
So it's not. It's a very big goal, but
mhm.
it's not impossible, you know.
Definitely.
And oh, and I'm glad somebody brought Valorant up. So see that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I won't say that it's impossible, but it's almost impossible.
Mhm,
Because if I'm not mistaken, Valorant is union. So basically this means that they hire union actors only. And don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Valorant is union.
mhm,
So it means that you need to be in the union in America, and for you to be in the union, you need to live in America,
mhm.
which I don't, and I kind of don't plan on doing it because the healthcare there scares me.
Yes, it
Um,
is shit.
yeah. So unless they create a Malaysian character or a Singaporean character and they cast authentically, like find an actress in this region,
Mhm,
which is almost like very almost impossible. I mean, they didn't even do it for Overwatch.
mhm.
Like Echo sounds like the furthest thing from a Singaporean. She sounds like a crazy rich Asian
Really.
with a British or very posh RP British accent. And she's
Mhm,
not even like Singaporean. She's like Vietnamese. or something, and she's born and raised in England. You know, they didn't even do that for Overwatch, which is a huge IP, and she's technically like Dr. Mina Liao is Singaporean, and they didn't even do that for her. So I don't think they'll do this for Valorant or Apex or any of these big titles. So I'm not crazy enough to want to have that as my goal, because there's no point in having these as my goal when you know what I mean. You can't do it because of other things like visa, union, all this stuff that's out of your control.
Definitely.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So I don't want to put lofty goals like, oh, I want to be in Valorant. You know, I mean, I really want to, but that also means that I would need to move to the US. I would need to get into the union. I would need to do so many things that are just out of my control. Whereas the 3 goals that I listed are very, what's the word for it? They're very realistic, you know? They're very big, no doubt, but they're also very attainable for me at this moment. I mean, who knows? Maybe Valorant might change. You know, that's great. I don't think they will go non-union. I think they're pretty much union for the most part. But yeah, but who knows? You know, there might be. But there's no point putting a goal to it when you don't know whether things are going to change.
Definitely.
You know? Yeah, like you can't achieve this goal at all until things change on their end. So for me, there's no point having it as a goal, if that makes sense. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But yes, but thank you. I would love to be on the thank you. Who is this that said that? Ace Controller. I would love to be in the Valorant roster, but it is. Oh, so there's another question from TH. So it's virtually impossible for anyone not in the union then. Okay, so this is where Overwatch does it a little differently. So they have like Mei, who's like a China actress, voicer. But for the most part, they probably Taft-Hartley her, which is a very fancy word to say to get somebody that's not in the union to participate in the union project. Yeah, but those things are very slim. Like, let's look at Overwatch. They only did it for Mei, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody else on that cast is American and union. Like, even Charlotte Chung, who is Diva, is American and union. Yeah, even Mercy, she lives in LA. I think she's union. The only one that I know that does not live in the US and still does not live in the US is Mei. And that's the only exception. And just based on what Overwatch did, I mean, if they won't even do it for Echo, yeah, forget it. I mean, they really the Singlish lines for Echo are just the most jalat I've ever heard in my life. Right?
Yes, definitely.
Jalar. Oh my gosh. When I first heard the Singlish lines, it was like Chalar. What the heck is Chalar? It's jalat. The most jalat I've ever heard in my life. So yeah, so I don't think so. I mean, things are changing, but the thing is with AAA games or union jobs and things like that, it's very difficult unless you have to be in the union for a union job, so that's one. And most of the time, yeah, you have to be based in LA. So yeah, it's kind of, I won't say it's impossible because weirder things have happened. Definitely. But yeah.
The more you know. Well,
yeah, correct. Correct.
But yes, once again, thank you very much for taking the time to join the podcast. So yeah,
all right. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks
for listening in.
Let me just put the BGM, the ending BGM, and we'll be set.
Okay.